wanna take some time to thank you and let you know just how you make me proud. Good times make up for the bad ones. I see you trying and I don't know how. You keep up with me when you're working, switch your timing. When our schedules aren't aligning, that's a sign that it's okay to finally tell the world that you are more than enough, enough for me. I don't mind taking time, baby, I'm telling you to. I don't mind taking time, baby, I'm telling you to.
Hi, welcome to the Fly Theory Podcast. Today we're at the Holistic Wellness Practice, and I will be interviewing Tatiana today. And nobody can tell you nothing about yourself but you, so I'll turn it over to Tatiana. But I do want her to start off telling me a little bit about her life, and at what point in her life did she stop surviving and start building?
Okay. So, a little bit about me. Where should I start? I grew up in the inner city, and my upbringing, it was a little chaotic in my younger years. My mother, she used drugs and was an alcoholic. My father sold drugs, and somewhere around, I would say first grade, they started to change the narrative. My mom went through treatment. I went with her. My father, he became incarcerated, and once he got out, he reformed himself. And so I like to think of it as I'm a product of my environment. Growing up in the inner city, I was a part of a lot of programming that allowed me to have opportunities that most people in my neighborhood didn't have, as far as being able to be a part of like overnight camps with the girls basketball team. I was in the Faluke Arts program, so I learned about photography and African dance and art at a very young age. I went to the Karamu House and eventually went to Cleveland School of the Arts. And so it just really opened up my eyes to what's out there, and the fact that I have a choice in how I want to live my life. And so in early adulthood, I went through domestic violence, homelessness. And so really when I was about 25 and I started practicing yoga is when I decided that I have the right to choose happiness and to discover what that means. And like you said, I was in survival mode, just trying to keep my bills paid, keep a roof over my head. And I didn't really know how to incorporate my passion and my purpose into making a living. And so at that time, I was working in residential healthcare. I had my medical assistant diploma, but like I said, as I practiced yoga, my love for anatomy and the body and emotional regulation, it grew. And really, it wasn't my idea to start teaching. My family, my friends, they saw a change in me. And so they started to ask me to teach them yoga. And that's when I really recognized that it's a modality that's needed. Again, in the inner city, being someone that has grew up in areas where there's high rates of poverty, high rates of crime, high rates of domestic violence, and we know anybody who goes through that, you suffer from some form of PTSD. And for me, yoga, it created an outlet for me to work through my emotions without having to talk to somebody about it, because sometimes that can be re-traumatizing. And I started journaling more and just really recognizing how I played a role in the problems in my life. Because it's easy to point the finger and be like, oh, it's not me. I'm not doing anything wrong. But definitely I recognize I just wasn't making the best choices always in my life. And so fast forward 2020, I graduated with my bachelor's. And I actually was in science, health, and wellness. And I wanted to be a fitness coach. All of the gyms shut down.
Oh, wow.
Wow. And so that's kind of where peace, love, and light came from. Just meditating and doing a lot of spiritual work and trying to figure out what was next, and it just revealed it to me. Going out in the community and just continuing to expand, teaching what I know, and bringing people together, and developing a wellness community that I've been putting together. And so that culmination of things is what brought me to where I'm at.
Hmm. Well, I think you are a wonderful person, and you have such good energy. And I've always tried to think of ways of how can I get to this girl, So right now we're sitting in her wellness studio, and this is a wonderful place. And I am a firm believer in supporting Black businesses. She does massaging. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so I do soft tissue relaxation massages. I also do private yoga sessions, sound bowl sessions, and healing sessions. And the healing sessions are centered around bringing homeostasis to the body. Mm-hmm. So we can be out of whack because of a cold, because of reoccurring pain, or we could even have health conditions that most times are reversible. And so that's what the healing sessions center around, figuring out how do we bring balance back to the body, mm-hmm. and just create an environment that is conducive to healing.
So for those who don't know, what does homeostasis mean?
Yes. So the body, it wants to be in balance, meaning your temperature, everybody's body has a range for our temperature. You have a range for how you can move your arms and how you should be able to go up and down a flight of steps without being short of breath, or be able to bend over and touch your toes, and be able to eat foods and not have a lot of indigestion or constipation or diarrhea. And so whenever we start to experience these different illnesses or diseases, mm-hmm. our body is no longer in homeostasis, mm-hmm. right? So it's bigger than just trying to cure a disease, because we can have a lot of different illnesses that aren't necessarily specifically disease related, mm-hmm. such as allergies. That's not a disease, but we can avoid certain foods that will trigger inflammation, that will create mucus, that will cause us to have those really bad allergy flare-ups. Mm-hmm. So it's bigger than just trying to cure disease. It's about trying to make the body feel good and improve quality of life also. Mm-hmm. You could just experience a lot of tiredness, mm-hmm. trouble sleeping, mm-hmm. Or even feeling a lack of purpose. Mm-hmm. That thing that gives you the motivation to get up out the bed every morning. Something that's like beyond depression, just not feeling fulfilled. Mm-hmm. So when you don't have access to all of those different dimensions of wellness, the body is going to struggle to be at homeostasis.
Mm-hmm. So as far as like pricing, who's your target audience, first of all? Your clients.
So my target audience is impoverished communities, mm-hmm. Underserved communities. So there is an overlap, but everybody who's underserved may not necessarily be impoverished. Mm-hmm. So you could just be in a community where there's not a lot of access to holistic wellness practitioners. Mm-hmm. I specialize in free and affordable services, mm-hmm. Because I feel like wellness should be accessible. Mm-hmm. And it does get to a point, and I understand people's experience and degrees, but we price ourselves out of being accessible sometimes. Mm-hmm. And especially when it's a service that people may not be familiar with, they may have different expectations. Mm-hmm. Holistic practices is not like taking a pill. Mm-hmm. You may not get results overnight, but that doesn't mean you won't get results. Mm-hmm. And so right now my prices are $30 for 30 minutes, $45 for an hour. You're getting a discount by getting an hour. Mm-hmm. And with Reiki, those are 90-minute services, and so that's $60. Mm-hmm. And it's a flat rate, again, just to keep everything transparent, to make it accessible. Mm-hmm. And the best way to start is with a consultation. Mm-hmm. You can get a free 15-minute consultation. I think it's important when I work with people to know that I'm right for them and mm-hmm. that they're right for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell them a little bit about Reiki.
Yes. So Reiki is is centered around bringing balance to the energetic field. Okay. And so I like to express the energetic field. You know how when you rub your feet on the carpet sometimes and you get close to somebody and you shock them and you see that little spark of light. So we all have an electronic field around our bodies, and it's kind of like our body's first defense mechanism. And when it becomes disturbed or when it's weak, we're more susceptible to being sick. And so what I'm able to do is to tap into that electronic field to help build and strengthen it. It creates a relaxing effect. It is calming, and it can help to reverse minor conditions. And so depending on what it is that a person is experiencing, you may have to have anywhere from 3 to 6 sessions. Again, which is why the consultation is important, because I would want to know if it was even a good idea based on the illness that a person is experiencing, if Reiki would support them. Of course, I don't want to recommend anything that I don't think is going to be beneficial to the client. However, I don't want to turn anyone away if it is something that they are requesting. I just want everybody to have equal expectations of what they will get out of it.
So you say your target audience is like the impoverished communities, which is like low class communities. In low class communities, a lot of people don't have access to the internet, or they don't know how to use their phones to look on a web page, because I know you have a web page.
Correct.
So how do you reach your audience? How do you reach these people?
So going out into the community, I partner with stakeholders and businesses where I can provide free services, such as my senior chair yoga class at the Fleet Branch Library.
Say that again.
My senior chair yoga class at the Fleet Branch Library. And actually, it's usually a 4-week class. And this particular cohort, we're going over conditions that are reversible. So the first class I talked about reversing type 2 diabetes. This past week, I talked about reversing hypertension. You got to come out on Wednesday, the next 2 Wednesdays, to learn what I'll be talking about next. But that is how I try to create opportunities for people who may not be familiar with my website. I also have my class on Fridays at the Frederick Douglass Recreation Center every Friday. And so that's one of the ways.
Every Friday at what time?
Yeah, every Friday from 6 p.m. until 7 p.m. So that's just a couple of the ways that I try to always keep myself available to people who, again, may not be on social media or may not have the money to afford a class here. And so I'm always continuing to figure out how I can be in more community spaces in a meaningful way. Also, because we got to be mindful of like HIPAA and the opportunity to speak to people in privacy. And also, sometimes it's challenging because I don't want to give too much advice without knowing a person's medical history. But there's a lot of basic information that I give out in print also. That's really important to me. So I have like word searches and coloring sheets and crossword puzzles that help to reinforce the things that I teach.
So what's your website?
My website is www.peaceloveandlightcle.com. I know it's a mouthful. Yeah.
So if someone like is watching this show and just they have an emergency, like they're having an anxiety attack or panic attack, or they just don't feel well and they need some service, how can they contact you like at the spur of the moment? Do you have a phone number?
Yes, so it's 216-309-1178. And people do call, believe it or not. And I'm also a big advocate of 988 first call for help. But I know sometimes it's impersonal, because we're talking to someone and all they can really do is give us a soft handover, kind of refer us to a whole nother organization, which means having to explain the story again, maybe being put on hold. And it could just be a misconnection versus somebody who, when they call me, they know I may be available to meet them, which I have done sometimes, or just give them more of a warm handover to some other resources in the community that can help.
So when you spoke about community, building a holistic community, what does that look like to you? Like, how are you going about doing that?
So for me, building a holistic community means trying to meet all stops. Removing social economic barriers. So if a person has lack of transportation, it's going to be difficult for them to thrive. If they don't have access to safe places for play and recreation, if they don't have good financial opportunities to work, if they don't have a clean environment to live in, and so trying to be well-rounded in the people that I partner with, it just creates an opportunity again for me to refer people outside of me, because I do a lot in peace, love, and life, but there's still a lot that I don't do. So staying connected to people that can help house individuals or families, and all of those things. That to me is what holistic health means. It's not just focusing on physical health. It's not just focusing on mental health or nutritional health. All of those things are important. But again, if I'm just trying to figure out like how to have clean clothes to go to work, eating well is the furthest thing from my mind. And I understand that. And that's okay. But we need to make sure that you have all the things that you need so you can sit down and try to even meditate.
So you spoke about eating well, and it took me back to last year when I came to your event, and she was giving out carrot dogs. And I'm like, I don't know how that's going to taste. But it really was it was better than an actual hot dog. But I want you to explain to me a little bit about the health and wellness journey that you were on, or, tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, so the carrot dogs. It's intriguing. So I have been on many diets. I've been vegan, vegetarian, low fat, high carb, high protein. And really it's about trying to keep my body at homeostasis. I've had hypothyroidism, I have endometriosis, and I've experienced anemia, some other health issues. And so I've been able to reverse a lot of my hormone issues through my diet. And when you take different herbs, they work more effectively when you're on an alkaline diet. So that's no dairy, no meat, no cheese, no bread. And so again, if you want these things to be effective, you have to change your diet. Now, where recipes like my carrot dog came from is I learned that heart disease is the leading cause of mortality rate in Cuyahoga County residents. And one of the causes behind that is the lack of people eating fresh produce. And of course, we know we live in a food desert. We know most of the vegetables that we see are in cans. However, I feel like people don't have enough healthy, good tasting recipes. And so, and not just that adults will eat, but their children. Because it really overcomplicates it when you have to make a separate food dish for yourself, or maybe your spouse and your children. And so that's what really got my gears grinding. What can I make that a kid would try it? Even if you don't have to say it's a carrot dog, it's just a good tasting carrot. And so
it was good.
That's where that came from.
So again, last year at your event, you were speaking to the kids, but I thought it was so profound. You gave the history of was it meditating and like chakras and stuff like that, where it came from, where it originated from. Would you like to educate us?
Okay, sure. So yoga originated in Africa, and we have documentation of that in the hieroglyphics that are in what is now referred to as Egypt, used to be Kemet. And what's interesting about Kemet is that we forget that it was a dynasty that was around for so long
Mhm.
that even back then, a lot of the information was ancient,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And a lot of the people from Kemet, they migrated from southern Africa.
Mhm.
And so we're talking about um, a practice that's been in Africa for thousands of years,
Mhm.
and it has spread into other countries. And so it's in India, it's in China,
Mhm.
and even the symbolism used for medicine in Western medicine with the eagle wings and the snake and the staff, that comes from ancient Kemet.
Mhm.
So I think that's important for Black people to understand because there is a lack of disconnect with spiritual practices, especially yoga.
Mhm.
And there's a misconception that if you practice yoga that you're worshiping Hindu gods.
And Reiki.
Yes, and Reiki. And so for me, having my degree in science um and having everything that I do be based in peer reviewed science, meaning that these are other doctors and these are other bioengineers and chemists that are doing this, anthropologists that are doing this research and backing up what I say. I think it helps people to be able to see themselves in what I do, right, and to take pride in it, and to know when we practice yoga, when we do breath work, when we are trying to rise up our Kundalini energy, we are paying homage to our ancestors.
Wow.
And our history is so much greater than chattel slavery.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I think this lady got a lot going on, and I don't know about you, but I'm getting ready to book me a couple appointments to get me a nice little massage, and I think I could do some Reiki once a month so I could get back centered. I've had my share of health issues, and I feel like she offers the services that I need to get me back not only physically balanced but mentally balanced. I believe in holistic wellness, and I'm just grateful that she took out time to even talk to us. I know she's a busy lady, but is there anything else you want to share?
Yes, so this summer, the One Big Family Reunion, we're having our second event. This is going to be at the Frederick Douglass Recreation Center. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about it. It's an opportunity for people to participate in family reunion style traditions. We really got to bring family unity back. Mm-hmm. And I feel like in a world full of social media where it's so easy to just go online and send a quick message to everyone. Let's get out. Let's be face to face in person. And let's just have a good time. And I like to say, celebrate our bodies with physical fitness. And also, it's an opportunity to build community and partnerships. So by partnering with Flock Media and partnering with the Team Plug and Young Mothers of Cleveland and My Joy's Outreach, we're bringing all of our communities together for a common goal. We want everyone to do well in all the dimensions of health. And also, it's a good opportunity for people that offer community resources to come out and to share what they do. So it's for the vendors, but it's also for the community. And so I'm just excited about it, and I hope to see you there.
Now, what day is it?
It's July 11th.
And that's a Saturday?
That's a Saturday.
And what time?
It's from 10 to 5. So we're going to be at the Recreation Center for the whole day. It's going to be indoor and outdoor events, splash pad fun. We're going to have games and raffle prizes. And so it's going to be a really good time.
So if you're in Cleveland, Ohio, please come out to this event. Last year they had so much food, so many prizes and gifts. They had bouncy houses. They had everything, a lot of space, clean space, but it was empty. We got to do better. So bring your grandkids, grandmas, bring your sisters, your nieces, your nephews. Let's come on out and just have one big old family reunion. Let's make history.
Yes.
All right. So anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you for interviewing me and taking time out of your schedule. And I look forward to seeing y'all soon.
And we talk about partnering. We're going to be doing some things together. This is how you build community. And I just want to thank you for being here. Have a nice day.
okay to